I think there's a few things that set rehabilitation counselors apart and make them different from other helping professions. I think one is the bridge between the mental health side and the medical diagnosis side, specifically when we're talking about people with disabilities and other underserved populations of people. It's really valuable to have a rehabilitation counselor on a treatment team because of their background and their ability to look at an individual holistically, whether it be a person with disabilities or not. It's really valuable to have someone that's a rehab counselor in that way. Yeah. I think the impact is huge on inclusion and quality of life for people with disabilities, specifically in the areas of education, employment, and advocacy. There's a lot of people who traditionally aren't familiar with working with people with disabilities or maybe aren't comfortable with working with people with disabilities. And so that education piece is really huge. We're all ignorant until we're exposed. And so that's not the fault of anybody else. So having a rehabilitation counselor be able to educate and advocate companies, schools, and other community members is really, really critical. I'm glad that I got a question on versatility and adaptability because I try to wear a bunch of different hats. That's what excites me and serves me. And so, as a rehabilitation counselor, I'm able to bring that lens to whatever it is that I'm working on. If it's working in the community with within an organization that I'm involved in, or a committee or a board position that I hold, it's really helpful to have the rehabilitation counselor lens, and so that I can zoom out and look at the big picture and help integrate different parts of our community together. And then from a professional standpoint, I do some work in group counseling with high acuity individuals. And so I work with some people with substance use disorders, neurodivergent individuals, as well as people with other diagnoses. But having the rehab counselor lens to look through that has been incredibly helpful to be able to see the individual as a whole, holistically, is very valuable. And as an entrepreneur in the day and age of social media, it's also really important to understand accessibility for people with disabilities. And so, be an advocate and an educator through social media and different platforms like that, I think speaks to the diversity of a rehabilitation counselor as well. Well, my professional identity hasn't evolved a great deal yet because I'm relatively new as a certified rehabilitation counselor. But I think the exciting part that I see is that it's a very fluid and evolving career field to be in anyway. And I think that that speaks to the openness of rehabilitation counselors to continue to learn and grow and evolve throughout their career and lifespan. And so I'm excited to see what that looks like in my career. It just hasn't started to take shape very much yet for me. One thing I wish people understood better about rehabilitation counselors is that it's not specifically to work with people in substance use. I get that question a lot, maybe because I have my own history in with substance use. But when I tell people that I'm a rehabilitation counselor, I get, oh, cool, you work with AA or you work in the substance use field. And while we can work in those capacities, it's not specific to that. It's working with people with disabilities and other underserved populations. And so that's the main thing that always jumps out to me because I get that quite a bit.